We will reconvene at 6:17, please. Hal, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I just want to say that, I've been pretty silent so far today because I am. I've been on the board 15 months now. I think I went on in June of last year, and I know Sam and Marcia are newer to the board, but I just have to say that what's going on today, what went on 15 months ago, is completely different. It's as far as meetings open to the public and information and questions. And I like having Marcia on the board because Marcia has a background in this stuff. And I like having Sam on the board because Sam has sat on EBTs. So I think that's tremendous. I understand having two focal points from each end, so of it's Carrie and the other woman from Cerner, that's fine. That being said, I know Marcia has some specific questions that she wants to ask, but going to these other companies, having a question and then another one, then another one, it can be frustrating there. I'll tell you personally, in the past 7 days, I've received so many EBT emails. I'm going, holy smokes! I mean, it's just coming in. But I think that we are so much more. I don't want to say more better. We're more better. We're better off today than we were 15 months ago when I got on the board, and I think that's going to change going forward. And I've always been one that, especially with my kids, you can't change the past. You can learn from the past, but you can't change it. So I'm a very positive person, and I like to focus on tomorrow because I can't change yesterday. And I think the board overall is doing that. And I know Nicole's frustration, and I know Marcia's frustration, and I think going forward that's changing. And I hope that we can reach a point where it'll all be good. I learn something new every day. I'm a numbers guy. This stuff makes my head spin because I'm a numbers guy, but I like to be able to look at something and compare apples to apples. Carrie's a math person, and I understand the math portion of it, but then trying to get the compilations together of exactly what's what is just, it's frustrating. But I think going forward, I didn't realize Cerner was going to leave. I just hope that they understand that, like you say, we're not, like John says, we're not saying you're not doing a good job. We're not necessarily picking on you. We just, our responsibilities to the people we answer to is, are we getting the bang for our buck that we want? But I do think it's much better than it was 15 months ago, and I think 6 months from now it's going to be better than it was tonight. And I agree with Pat. 3-hour meetings are certainly not necessary. That's all for now.
So thank you for making the meeting longer.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, in 3.2, we just have the final trust audit report up for discussion. This was approved at the last meeting, but we had some updates come in over this past month that Dave's going to address.
Basically, the auditor wanted to start on next year's audit, so they asked for a bunch of information. Mike Bonnie is going to provide some of that. I have asked Cerner to send us a IBNR report so that can be included in it, and so that's the only item that's up for discussion at this point is that she's already asking to do next year's audit. So we'll supply her the information and she can get started on the audit for 2017. 16, 17.
Any other questions here? All right, then 3.3, the telemedicine for obesity management and general use under wellness benefits. I know we looked at these types of services as something that could be offered within the plan. But Marcia has shared with me, and I agree, but I wanted to discuss it here, that this could be something that gets encompassed in services that we may have in our plan the next year. So maybe we wait until we see who we're contracted with as time goes before we reevaluate if we wanted to add a cost to our trust. Any further question or any further comments you want to add in this area? Okay, then we will move to 3.4, which is the EBT trust document. The lawyers from our trust and the district met and have redlined the document and have looked for if we approve the changes that they agreed upon as they went through. So I just wanted to touch on Ms. Seller's comments in what she is asking to be revised from the EBT board. So in her email, I'll just go through this. On September 8, 2017, I had a conference call with the school district attorney regarding revisions to the trust. Attached is the trust and red line of the revised trust. All revisions were agreed to by the school district attorney and myself. Obviously, the school board and the trustees have the final say, so we're looking to approve it and then pass that to the school board to do the same. In discussing the revisions, we reviewed the minutes from May 13th and June 14th, 2017 subcommittee meetings that consisted of members from the school district and the trustees. We eliminated references to Exhibit A, which listed our benefits provided by the plan, and to Exhibit B, which contained a fiduciary duty checklist. In general, exhibits such as this should not be attached to the trust because the benefits offers might change annually and fiduciary best practices may change as well. Each time there is a change would require a full amendment process, which, as you are aware, can be quite lengthy. As a compromise, please see paragraph 1.05, where it is noted that the trustees will approve the benefits offered each year. This is something that should be done on an annual basis and can be done through regular order and does not need to be reflected in the trust. We also suggest providing the fiduciary checklist at the beginning of each plan year to all of the trustees. Okay, so would everybody be okay? I'll kind of go through each of her changes one by one. Are we in agreement in that area?
Yes.
Okay. We reviewed and highlighted all the highlights of the word trustee and highlighted trustee words were appropriate, were used in context. So we had questioned that, and she said that is an appropriate use. In the opening paragraph of the trust, besides referencing trust agreement or agreement, we added the reference EBT. In doing so, EBT did not need to be listed under Article 2. So I think that was clarifying it just a little further. For paragraph 3.01, Part D, we left the words uninsured losses. While the plan is currently self-insured, at some point in the future, the trust may adopt a partially insured model or fully insured model. This gives flexibilities to the trustees without the need to go through the amendment process for the trust. So are you okay with that revision?
Yes.
There was a question concerning paragraph 1.06. Under this paragraph, a definition of employee means all benefit eligible persons who have been employed by the school district on a regular basis and with eligibility as defined in the plan document. Based on this definition, this could include retired employees or are still receiving health benefits under the plan. We had just asked if that included retirees, so that answer was yes.
So, do you want to hear, because our attorney specifically spoke to me on that one. So I have something totally different than what you're just saying. Tosca encouraged us to change who have been to currently. Strike out who have been and insert in currently in that language. She said because otherwise you are, employees means and refers to all benefit eligible persons employed by the school district on a regular basis and with eligibility as defined in plan documents hereafter. We don't want it defined that way. Correct?
Who had been could imply someone that was here and isn't here anymore.
Right.
That makes sense.
So I don't know if that matters.
That matters.
I mean, it does to me, but I don't know if it matters that it's different than what you're reading from whatever your
Well,
attorney.
it does if we want to agree upon it together,
No, I just thought that you were speaking for both attorneys, and I'm only saying that because our attorney said different than what you just said. So,
I'm assuming that they were in agreement because I haven't spoken with your attorney. So
Okay.
I'm
okay.
putting the communication and going through her recommendations here. I
Okay.
assume you're going to go through your recommendations with the board, and I'm hoping they are in line. So if we see something that's not, that's good to mention now, and we need to look at it or discuss it.
There was only two things. That was one of them.
That was one, so that was
Wait, okay, now, what attorneys are we talking about? The one attorney is the attorney for
the
the
trust
for the
attorney
trust?
is Ms.
Yeah.
Sellers,
And
that's
then-
our attorney.
The district attorney.
Tosca.
Okay, so those two attorneys talked,
Yes,
and that's the recommendation here, but it's different than there.
right. That's why
That's,
I'm
so,
questioning.
so,
Our attorney did say that they agreed on everything, but
Right.
there was two things
that are different.
that are different.
So
That she has
we can
concerns about,
clarify
so-
those, or?
Or we want to
Did she
determine.
not communicate that with Jennifer?
Well, I wasn't with her on that meeting.
I know,
All I
yeah.
can speak to is what she told
Right.
me.
Well, do we have any objection to changing it to currently instead of who had been?
Well, let me look it up, so I've got, it's 1.06.
06.
Yeah,
Read it both ways.
I don't have an objection to it, but if the two attorneys got together and agreed, and they're different, I want Nicole and just either use one or the other.
They're probably in agreement on the definition, correct? So under this paragraph, a definition of an employee means all benefit eligible persons who have employed with the school district on a regular basis and with eligibility as defined in the plan document. So they both agree on the definition of what that is.
Okay,
Based on this definition, this could include retired employees who are still receiving health benefits under the plan. That's as far as my explanation went. Now, the school district's attorney,
Kicks
Tosca,
in and says.
wants to extend that to say what?
currently.
She wants to remove who have been and replace it with currently.
Remove.
But doesn't the trust also, does the trust cover people who are,
Retired?
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's included in that.
Right, we just want to clarify.
Employee.
Right,
Remove who
well,
have been with,
And replace it with currently.
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 sorry, I was still
Okay.
writing. I just want to make sure I have it.
They probably have a Porsche payment due, so they needn't bill another hour on each
well,
side.
how's that gonna work, if Carrie, if you say currently employed and you have people that are retired, they're not currently employed.
Yeah, that wouldn't include the retirees, so
Can you
I'm
read the whole-
curious.
Can you read the whole thing back?
The explanation or what's actually in the document.
What's actually in the document?
In the document 1.06, employee means and refers to all benefit eligible persons who have been employed by the school district on a regular basis and with eligibility as defined by the plan document.
So
And it
if you've
says,
been employed,
Here and defined.
you've got a contract right now, you're employed, and have been employed, that would cover the retirees.
Retirees.
Right.
So, I mean, it seems to me like this language hits on all of them. I wonder if,
And the plan document also says
Yeah.
retirees.
yeah, and I, so it sounds to me,
Like it
but if
needs
there's
to
an
include
issue, you want us to vote on this tonight, right?
Actually, currently employed by the district on a regular basis and with eligibility as defined in the plan document, hereinafter defined. So wouldn't the eligibility defined in the plan document include retirees?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Done.
So currently would be an acceptable change. That wouldn't disqualify anybody, because the plan document defines who's eligible.
Well, I guess the only question I had would be the and, because they have to be currently employed and qualify under the benefit, then it should be an or. Currently employed or qualify under the plan document.
Does it say currently employed as a full-time employee?
No, it doesn't.
No.
Or have been employed as a?
So that employee means and refers to all benefit eligible persons who have been employed by the school district on a regular basis and with eligibility as defined in the plan document.
So that covers
Here
the
and after
full-time.
defined. If you do change that to currently, it would need to be or and not and, in my opinion.
Is this the final draft to the,
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
supposed to
Both
be.
the attorneys got together, but there's,
do you
Nicole said
have-
there's two changes,
Were you
there are two
sent
differences.
the red lined version, so are you looking at the same red line version? Nicole,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
were you sent the red line version with your explanations?
Yeah, but that's not what I have. I have the clean version that's already been changed with notes on the
Okay.
3 pages.
I
more.
have that too.
Okay.
I thought it would be easier on the red line so you could see the change, but I can look at the other one too to see if it matches.
The red line doesn't have any reference to this, it just has a font change for that 1.06.
Okay, so, okay. Here we go. Okay, so on my clean copy, it does not say currently, it still says who have been.
Right. I didn't say the clean copy said that, I'm sorry. It's written, these are handwritten notes from a conversation that I had with Tosca.
I thought this copy was what Tosca and Ms. Sellers agreed
I've
upon.
read through the red version and I've read through the clean version, and I'm comfortable with the document. I'm just bringing up the notes that Tosca gave. We can save it for the school board and have her
No,
on the
I understand,
line.
I'm just trying to clarify for me.
Right?
I thought when I was sent these, that these were agreed, this was the agreed upon wording. There weren't going to be revisions. This is the clean copy,
Okay.
and this is what we were asking to be approved. That was
Yeah,
my
that's what I thought.
understanding of the
That
process.
was my understanding too.
But there,
Okay.
but you said
But you're
there's two
saying that
differences.
she wants to change something that she agreed should stay in here?
Well, I don't know that she agreed on everything. I don't have
Okay.
the email that you're looking at, I'm sorry. All I have is my
Right.
documents. I don't know what email that you read from the attorney, your attorney.
Yes.
I don't have that email.
This is the one I'm just reading out right now, point by point.
But my point is that I have not
Right.
read that, so I don't know why. I know that page 2, 12, and 16, that Tosca has told me these are things to consider, or things that she's concerned about, things that she wants us to fix. I don't know if that happened before when she talked to her. I don't know the timeline of that because it wasn't in an email to me. It was on a phone conversation.
When was that, Nicole?
I want to say it was a week and a half ago.
And then this, your
This
email,
Email was from Friday, September 15th.
but your email says that the two attorneys,
Agreed,
Agreed.
this was the final copy.
That's what the email said to you?
So you can talk in
Where
September.
are we?
This is September
Because
25th.
we're not debating, I just,
No,
I
no,
don't want
I-
to have
I
to
know.
do it again.
Right,
I just
but
want to make
Nicole-
sure,
Nicole
but
talked
I
to
want
her-
to reference, to make sure they're in agreement.
right, but Nicole talked to her a week and a half ago, and then subsequent to that, this email says the two of them agreed on this.
This is
Is that-
attached is the revised trust and red line.
I can
Red
make
line
another
revised trust.
call tomorrow or Monday.
Yeah,
Can I just
And you got this on the 25th, Carrie, right?
wrap my head around that? paragraph?
15.
And she said that the attorney spoke
Marcia
of
got a
it.
copy, Marcia, you got a copy too, didn't you?
I do. I'm just
Carrie sent me it.
listening
No.
to the attorney's responses.
Jennifer sent it to you too.
I would say that if we're going to change, or if the recommendation is to change who have been to currently, then I believe we have to address the and
Or,
to an, and change that to an or. Because if we say currently an employee, they're basically, we're saying they have to be currently an employee.
right.
And if we keep it as and, then we're going to eliminate the retiree
Right.
portion of it. But if we
Yep.
change it to or, then that allows that ending part of that sentence to say with eligibility as defined, then that's where we bring in the retiree portion of this. So if we change it to currently and change the word and, the and word to or, then I believe, in my opinion, that
would be fine.
that satisfies and that would be appropriate.
The only point I was making was, from a timeline, I was thinking that
We could approve it.
Nicole talked to the attorney a week and a half ago, and on the 15th of September, this came in from, the attorney says, we've gotten together, and this is it. So that, it seems that subsequent to Nicole's conversation with the attorney, the trust attorney and the school board attorney got together, and this is what they gave Carrie with these recommended changes. Is that a true statement?
Yes.
Okay.
They met on September 8th. They agreed on these documents that was sent to both the school board and to me,
Okay.
and I believe Mike and Mary. And I received that on September 15th. So depending on when Nicole's conversation was, if it was after September 15th, then she's making an additional, their attorney's making an additional revision we don't have.
Well, they met on the 8th, right?
The
Correct.
attorneys.
The attorney's
But I'm
not-
asking when Nicole had this
Well, but if the
conversation.
attorneys met on the 8th, that means that was when the revisions were done, was on the 8th. We got a short email on the 15th. It took them a week to reduce them to writing to get them to you, which was almost 2 weeks ago.
Right. Yeah, again, the only point I'm making is it sounds like,
We're in
it
agreement.
sounds like what Carrie has was what the two attorneys agreed upon, subsequent to Nicole's conversation.
The dates all, it's like a week ago, a week and a half ago. I don't have the specific date on me.
Well, a week ago
I can
would
go
be
back
after.
to my email and
15th.
determine
So-
it, but I really don't think that matters because it's fine. We can leave it alone. I will get a better explanation on why she wants that change.
Change.
I do have better notes on the other two, so.
Okay, maybe those will be easier. So right now, we'll
Leave like that.
leave it as is. Okay, please see revised paragraph 4.03.
You have one of these,
Nope. I've got it at work.
Oh,
I have a red line, so you guys can share this one. And if they ask you to read the clean one, you can.
Yeah.
The school district attorney requested language to be removed referencing that the district shall cover the bond at no additional premium or no cost to the trust. The school district attorney was concerned that while the bonding amount appears not cost the school district additional monies, it could in the future. This is a fair point raised by the school district attorney. Therefore, the revised 4.03 just mentions the required bonding amount. This does not mean that the school district does not want to provide the benefit. If it is able to get the bonding for free, they will continue to do so. If not, they would like to pass on the cost to the trust if the bonding costs additional money. Since this really is a plan operating expense, it would be fair for the plan to bear the expense.
I agree with that.
So that one, 4.03, just ends with a sentence, it doesn't continue, it doesn't have the rest of it.
Right, because they redlined the rest of it out, yes.
Gotcha.
Okay, so they just left it as the bond amount of 1 million per trustee. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but that sentence, that doesn't make sense.
They took out that the
Get that,
cost is coming.
this is the clean copy now?
Uh-huh.
Okay, but it says, as a qualification of continued service, each trustee must be bonded. The bond amount of $1 million per trustee. The bond amount is, I mean, it doesn't make, the bond amount of $1 million per trustee.
Yeah, it's just not a sentence.
It's not a
needs to
sentence,
be
that's what I'm saying.
Grammar corrected.
So instead of of is,
Needs a break. We'll put is in there. The
There
bond
you go.
amount is
Is,
1 million per
1
trustee.
million.
there you go,
There you go.
there you go.
Okay. Did you get that one?
Yes,
Just because that's an easy one?
yes.
Okay.
It's already corrected in my version. Yes.
There you go. Very good. Okay, so paragraph 1305.
How about 5.09?
Oh, no, sorry, excuse me. 5.09. There was a question about paragraph 5.09 on withdrawals and whether an approval section needed to be added. An approval section does not need to be added. Under paragraph 5.09, checks, drafts, vouchers, or other withdrawals for the fund or depositories for the transfer or liquidating of insurance policy or investments must be authorized by the trustees. What this means is a majority of the trustees must approve such transaction. Therefore, an approval section does not need to be added.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Attorney
Not one of the
Washington.
different ones, that one was fine. Okay, 13.05.
13.05?
Yes.
Okay, so page 12, there's another, I have another note. I don't know if you want to do that before you move.
Let's do so we stay in order.
Okay. So 6.08, irrevocability of contribution. She said that we needed to reconcile that with page 16. 1305, was that the one you were just about to go to?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay,
So maybe it has to do with that
it
one.
does.
Okay, so maybe I read mine first and
Yeah.
then see if it's in
So
agreement.
where are we going?
13.05.
13.05.
Okay.
Okay, so paragraph 1305 regarding remaining monies in the case of termination of a trust includes the original language. The contributions made to the trust are benefits to the employees. It is part of the employee's compensation package. Therefore, it would be inappropriate if there were any remaining monies at termination to reduce school district taxes for the budgeted year. And then
Well, I have it start on 1305, but my notes that I have are back on 6.08, because there's a conflict between the two. Tosca disagrees, and she says that because in 6.08 and in our original, I believe, it says, subject to the provisions of providing for termination of this trust agreement in Article 13, all, which is the key word, all meaning district contributions and employee paid premiums. So all contributions to the fund shall be irrevocable. And that makes sense because all is referring to both district contributions and employee paid premiums. So let me finish reading through this. Everybody can read their own.
Okay, so I do have an additional comment here,
Okay.
so I'll read that one. There was a question under paragraph 13.05, what does the words benefit of the character mean? Benefits of the character mean when and if the trust terminates. Benefits that were offered prior to the termination can be used towards benefits post-termination. For example, if vision benefits were offered prior to the termination of the trust and monies remained after the termination of the trust, those monies could be used towards vision benefits for employees.
When we talked about that, I thought the idea of that was that if someone had incurred a claim but not submitted it yet, but it was prior to the termination date and there were funds available, that they could still get reimbursed for the claim.
Well, they're not reimbursed.
No,
Well, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
it's basically at the end of the day, if there's monies left over after all incurred and paid claims, if there's money in the trust, that money cannot go back to the school district. It's irrevocable, and therefore it has to be used for future benefits for the employees of the district.
But
in order for it to be used.
it has
for-
to go back to the district to be
to be
used towards
used.
benefits, right?
That's
That
right.
was my understanding.
You can pay the money out of the trust for benefits offered to the employees. It doesn't go back to the school district, ever.
That's where Tosca disagrees, so that was her
As an
specific.
attorney for the school district, I can understand that, but as a trust attorney, it's irrevocable.
Are you a trust attorney?
No,
Oh.
I'm reading what she said. It says irrevocable.
Yeah, I believe it's been put in place to pay for benefits. I don't see that if we just decide to end the trust, that it would just go back to the,
Yeah.
Used however,
6.08 says,
yeah.
it says it's absolutely not going to go back to the district. Right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And I have, that's what 1305 is saying also. So all remaining money should be used for the continuance of one or more benefits of character. And that's what she further defined. So it would continue to be used to pay for employee benefits, but it would not go back to the trust. I see that we're clear.
Right.
I don't see a conflict.
I'll go back to the district.
not go back to the district.
That what?
Not go back to the
It
district.
does not
You
go
said-
back to
you
the
said
district.
trust.
You said the trust.
I know, like,
The district, yeah, right. Okay, yeah.
do we agree with our revision? Okay. And that was the final one that I had. So that was it. Okay.
I think
Carrie,
it's a
basically
housekeeping and
everything's-
correcting the format.
Oh, we
You're
had-
fine
we
with
had
this
a-
version except
we
add
had a
that
work
one
session
word
going
in
through
the.
this.
Yes,
So
but
we-
we'll need to
we
make a
used
motion then to accept our
School board
revisions.
and
Yeah.
EBT and administration
With the
went
change,
through this.
with the one,
Then it went to the separate attorneys, and now it's come back. Yeah, it was before your time.
All right, Mark's just gonna make a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the trust document with the revisions discussed
And
Second.
Heretofore.
and submitted heretofore.
Vote.
Sorry, I wasn't. Pat Rooney.
Yes.
Marcia Cox.
Yes.
Hal Christensen.
Yes.
Sam Spinato.
Yes.
Terry Johnson.
Yes.
We have a new trust document.
Well, we do.
Well,
Has to be for this.
Now
Yeah,
the
it
board,
has to go to school.
the school board has to,
Get the final tattoo on it.
Yes.
okay.
I do want to just make a comment on that. I do believe that this was a process that needed to be done. And I think at the end of the day, a good document was created. I know the time process was lengthy, but I do feel that that was valuable. And I do think that this now is an accurate representation of what we do.
agree.
And does for me, because one of the first questions I had were clarifications on roles of the school district and the trust, and I think this more clearly defines that.
Sure does.
I think 30 years from now, the next board should do the same thing.
Correct.
The next one?
You're planning on staying a long time.
They won't
Yeah,
have as many
no, the next
questions
board, not
as we
me.
had.
The
No,
next-
there's
next
term
board.
limits.
Term limits now.
Yeah, that's right.
There's term limits in here, so.
That's right.
Okay.
If I'm here in 30 years, I'm not going to be sitting in this chair, I'll guarantee you that.
No, it'll have bigger wheels.
Yeah, there you go. That was someone to push.
Okay, under 3.5, it was to discuss approval of a setup fee to Gilsbar for an eligibility fee to all carriers, because we did not approve that at the last meeting. Was there any update to that, Dave, or are we gonna wait?
I have a little bit of an update, Madam
Okay.
Chair. So our IT department did go through and they reviewed the files and the scope of the entire project for implementing three electronic eligibility files. And this is for the dental, vision, life, and short-term disability benefits. And what this is when eligibility comes to Gilsbar, we would then take that and electronically send it to all of these vendors on an electronic feed. So to build that, put it together with programming and testing, they estimated about 60 hours of implementation, which is 20 hours per file. They also gave us an estimated cost of $200 per hour, but that's not set in stone. So I got the estimate on Monday. I am in discussions with our senior management and our sales team to get that drastically reduced because of our relationship with the school being since 2009. So even though you see a $200 per hour for 60 hours, that's extensive. So I am going back to get that drastically reduced for you, so if I can have the opportunity to report back with a formal and finalized proposal, I could get that over to Dave in about 2 business days, if that's okay.
What do you think you'll be able to negotiate, Joyce?
That was my question.
I know. That's kind of where we were
What's your
last
gut
time,
feeling?
right?
Okay, so they're charging $4,000 per file. I want to get at least $4,000 knocked off. That's my goal for an $8,000 total for the 3 file setups. That's my goal. Right now, they're at $12,000, $4,000 per file, so that.
Are they estimating 60 hours, or are
Yes,
they
it
saying it's
could
going to
be.
take, okay,
Yeah,
so
it's an
no
estimate.
more than 60
Right.
hours,
Yeah,
but it could be less.
it could be.
And the last time we talked about it, it was no more than 3,000.
Right.
That was for
3,000
one
was-
file.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's why we tabled it. I know we are lengthy in our meeting, but your department, do you feel that this is a need? Or,
I think I would like to get an update first, and number 2, we're kind of in the process, as most people know, we're making a transition here.
to new
Or we are
software?
going to recommend a transition here in the near future, either October or November at the latest. I'm waiting on some further information from the vendor. And these will be discussions I have with them to see if there's anything there that will help better bridge or transition and help out with the onboarding of certain material and information. So that's kind of yet to be determined. So I would also like to just see what you come back with, and then also see what I come back with, but that is going to be more than 2 days.
On your
For
end.
my part, yeah.
Right.
I have a kind of a timing question. How much onboarding are we doing right now? At this point? Yeah. I think at this point, the majority of it is over. We're probably looking into next year to really.
Right.
So
It's
this is
finished for
probably
this
a
year.
great project to talk about in April. Yeah, I would probably suggest
Yeah.
sooner than that, but
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Good
I
time.
would say- I would say January-ish, we probably can bring this back to the surface, but.
And I was thinking that that's what we talked about in August, is that because the open enrollment
Well, I
was already
think we were
finished.
hoping to have an actual cost
Oh,
on
okay.
all 3 services, and we don't quite have that yet either.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd also like to add that right now we don't currently administer the life and short-term disability eligibility at all right now, so that's not something that's in our system.
Yeah.
So that might also incur a programming fee and also per employee per month admin fee to manage that eligibility. We're not charging that right now for the dental and the vision because it's already factored into the COBRA admin fee. So that eligibility part is already taken care of for the dental and the vision. But now with life and short-term disability, that's a whole brand new product that we'd be bringing into our system and managing that eligibility. So that one would have a per employee per month cost as well.
Okay, so then maybe a second question for Mr. Murray. How were we handling life previously if it wasn't through Gills Bar? Was that done by your staff?
I'll have to check on that. I don't have
Okay.
the,
So-
I wouldn't want to give you inaccurate information, so I'll find out from.
So let's just table this.
Can I
And-
add one more thing to that
Yes.
too? I just wanted to talk about a timeline a little bit of what it would,
Okay.
how long it would take if you do decide to move forward with this. It would be no less than 16 weeks. So I know the discussion was about having that for open enrollment, but with 3 files being in production, you have to allow at least 16 weeks for implementation and testing and getting all that done and ready to go. So just keep that in mind if you do decide to move forward with this implementation.
That's 16 weeks, and the files being done simultaneously.
Yes, yes.
And that's a one-time charge.
That's a one-time charge, yes.
It's not a per employee per month charge.
The only thing that would be a per employee per month was the managing, administration of the eligibility for the life and short term.
And do you know what that fee is?
I have 50 cents per employee per month for the maintaining of the eligibility.
Mr. Murray, do you think a November 15th date, you would be able to determine with the software switch, or is that too early?
No, that should be plenty of time.
Okay. Any additional questions for Gills Bar on this? All right,
So we want to postpone.
we're going to table till November and hopefully have a report of what our software is able to do first, because if we can do it in-house,
There would
Should
still
it
be
be
an
too?
implementation fee.
Fee?
Even if their software system can manage eligibility, there would still be an implementation on our part as well, so the fee may still be the same. And that's only for eligibility coming from the district to Gills Bar, not necessarily Gills Bar sending it to the vendors. So it's 2 separate implementations.
okay, and I want to make sure I was clear from the last meeting. If we change our vendor, like United change for vision, this process starts over, right?
Correct.
All right. At this time, I would like us to call for executive session to hear appeals. Do you guys know what would like to move us into?
We have a bill?
Yes, I know we have at least one.
I move that we go into
Aye.
executive session.
Second.
5? We have 5.
Oh,
Motion's made.
One second.
So I
Pat
should,
did.
Pat seconded.
Pat seconded.
oh, Pat, yeah, Marcia, Pat, so I need to take a vote. Okay. Hal Christensen,
Yes.
Sam Scarmato,
Yes.
Pat Rooney.
Yes.
Marcia Cox.
Yes.
Carrie Thompson.
Yes.
Second.
Hal Christensen,
Yes.
Sam Scarmato,
Yes.
Pat Rooney.
No. Oh, yes, I'm here.
It's still gonna pass, Pat.
Really?
It'll pass
Pat,
4 to
you
1.
really want to go stay in executive session?
It'll pass 4 to 1
Yes.
anyway, so.
Marcia Cox.
Yes.
Carrie
What day is it?
Yes.
It's changing in about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Oh, Lordy.
Make a motion. As As to appeal number 1, I make a motion to approve the appeal.
Second.
Additional comments? You don't have any, so vote?
Okay. Pat Rooney,
No.
Marcia Cox,
Yes.
Carrie Thompson,
Yes.
Hal Christensen,
Yes,
Sam Scarmato.
Yes.
that's you. That means we approve your
That
appeal.
means you're buying pizzas.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, Justin.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do this, is crazy.
We don't either.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
A motion for appeal number 2.
I'll make a motion we deny appeal number 2.
Second.
Marcia Cox,
We're denying.
I agree with,
Yes, so you
So I
say
say
yes,
yes.
because he did denial.
yes, I deny.
okay. Hal Christensen,
Yes.
Sam Scarmato,
Yes.
Pat Rooney,
Yes.
Carrie Thompson.
Yes.
That's a double negative.
Well, continue on. Well, I got a question for you after the meeting, but I don't like it if you're like this.
You better write that.
I'll continue my theme. As to appeal number 3, I make a motion to deny the appeal.
Second.
Hal Christensen,
Yes.
Sam Scarmato,
Yes.
Pat Rooney,
Yes.
Marcia Cox,
Yes.
Carrie Thompson.
Yes.
As to appeal number 4, I make
Go
a
for it.
make a motion we deny the appeal.
Second.
Thank you.
Sam Scarmato,
Yes.
Pat Rooney,
Yes.
Marcia Cox,
Yes.
Hal Christensen,
Yes.
Carrie Thompson.
Yes.
As to appeal number 5, I make a motion we deny the appeal.
Second.
Pat Rooney,
Yes.
Marcia Cox,
Yes.
Sam Scarmato,
Yes.
Hal Christensen,
Yes.
Carrie Thompson.
Yes.
That was easy.
Oh.
So I'll be unpopular before people and stuff.
There
You
you go.
collect these now, Dave? or what?
Yeah,
Yes, please.
hand it back down.
We'll pass these down.
Okay.
We have dates set
Good
for
with
our
all of them
next
so
trust
far.
meeting. So any conflicts with the dates listed?
Yeah,
The only additional is I will wait to see if Mike Murray has an additional
Oh.
October work session set up with Cerner, Gillsbar, and us. I do not have that date now, so we will wait for further confirmation.
The second, I have something at 6 o'clock. Are we going to be done by in 3 hours by 6 o'clock on the second?
October 2nd?
Second,
we-
yeah,
we've
that one's
scheduled it-
timed,
We've
yeah.
scheduled it
Those
for
have
3
their
hours
time limit.
specifically.
Yeah.
That's for the 3, yeah.
Yep. We'll be done.
Okay, any future agenda items for the November meeting?
We have to add the Gillsbar setup.
Yes.
That'll be added.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What we tabled, so
Yeah, what we
3.5.
tabled, 3.5 will be added to November 15th.
Any additional?
That's all I have.
Dave, anything you foresee?
Nope.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Make a
So-
motion with you.
Second.
That's the same we did.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Adjourned at 7:28.
Goodbye.
Marcia, this came up yesterday. Okay.